The ultimatum, the warning, came at dawn, Earth's standard time. Ambassador Maya Chen stood in the observation deck of Lunar Station, watching the blue marble of Earth rotate slowly below. The morning briefing had been routine until the quantum burst. Transmission arrived from the Stellar Dominion Council. Now everything had changed. The holographic projection filled the chamber with an imposing figure. Supreme Chancellor Thyros of the Vector Empire stood 12 feet tall, his scaled hide gleaming under the council chamber lights. 6 arms gestured as he spoke, each movement calculated to demonstrate the vast power behind his words. Humans of Earth, his voice resonated through universal translators. The Stellar Dominion Council has reached a unanimous decision. Your species has exceeded acceptable expansion parameters. Your colonies spread too quickly. Your military grows too rapidly. Your technology advances without proper oversight. Maya felt her jaw tighten. Proper oversight. The same words every galactic empire had used throughout history to justify controlling smaller civilizations. Thyros continued, his reptilian eyes fixed on the camera. You have 72 Earth hours to cease all deep space operations. Recall your colonial fleets. Dismantle your military installations beyond the Mars orbit. Submit to Council monitoring of all technological development. The projection shifted to show star maps. Red zones marked human territories, while blue areas showed Council space. The message was clear. Humanity was being contained. Failure to comply will result in immediate quarantine. No ships will enter or leave your system. No trade, no resources, no contact with galactic civilization. Thyros leaned forward. We have done this to 17 species before you. Each learned to accept their place. You will too. The transmission ended, leaving Maya alone with the silence of space. She activated her secure channel to Earth immediately. 3 hours later, President David Kumar sat at the head of the Emergency Council table deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. The room buzzed with tension as military leaders, scientists, and diplomats argued over humanity's response. They're bluffing, said General Patricia Holmes, her weathered face showing decades of military experience. No empire wants to police an entire star system. The resource cost would be enormous. It's not a bluff, countered Dr. Elizabeth Morse. From the Xenobiology Department, the Council has done exactly this before. The Helix Collective, the Wanderer clans, the Silicon Mines, all restricted to their home systems until they agreed to integration. President Kumar raised his hand for silence. Admiral Cross, what's our current military status? Admiral Sarah Cross activated her tablet, displaying fleet positions across human space. At 63, she was the youngest person ever to command Earth's interstellar forces. More importantly, she was one of only 5 people who knew the truth about Earth's capabilities. Officially, Mr. President, we have 47 ships of the line, 12 carriers, and approximately 200 support vessels. Standard defensive posture for a Type 2 civilization. Officially, Kumar repeated, and unofficially, Cross smiled grimly. Dr. Reed, would you like to explain Project Nightfall? Dr. Marcus Reed stood slowly. The quantum physicist looked exhausted, which wasn't surprising since he'd been working 18-hour days for the past 5 years. Mr. President, what I'm about to share cannot leave this room. The survival of our species may depend on it. Reed activated a holographic display showing the Sol system, but instead of the familiar planets and asteroid belts, the projection revealed something else entirely. A vast network of interconnected nodes spread throughout space, creating a web of energy that encompassed everything from Mercury to Pluto. The quantum mesh, Reed said quietly. We've been building it since the first contact with the Altari Trade Federation 8 years ago. Every asteroid mining operation, every deep space research station, every seemingly innocent probe has been part of this network. Secretary of Defense William Jung leaned forward. What exactly does it do? It turns our entire solar system into a weapon, sir. The mesh can manipulate space-time itself. Gravity wells, dimensional tears, localized temporal distortions. But, more importantly, it's connected to similar networks in every human colony system. The room fell silent. President Kumar stared at the display. How many people know about this? 17, including everyone in this room, Admiral Cross replied. The construction crews think they're building communication relays and mining equipment. Only the core team knows the true purpose. Kumar nodded slowly, and the council has no idea, none whatsoever. Our intelligence networks confirm they still classify us as a primitive spacefaring species. Dangerous only because of our rapid expansion, but technologically inferior. Cross pulled up another display showing alien fleet movements. They're so confident in their superiority that they're not even bringing their full strength to bear. How many ships? Asked General Holmes. 800 vessels from 5 different species. Massive by any standard, but nothing compared to what they could deploy if they saw us as a real threat. Dr. Reed cleared his throat. There's something else. The mesh isn't just defensive. We've been placing nodes in neutral space for 3 years, near major shipping lanes, around important worlds, in the vicinity of Council military installations. You're saying we could strike at them directly? The President's voice was carefully neutral. Yes, sir. If activated simultaneously, the mesh could cripple their infrastructure across 12 systems. Not destroy, but disable. Knock out their power grids, disrupt their communications, strand their fleets without faster-than-light capability. The room erupted in debate. Some officials argued for negotiation, others for preparation. But President Kumar was studying the quantum mesh display with the intensity of a man calculating the survival of his species. How long do we have? He asked. Admiral cross-checked her chronometer. 67 hours until their deadline. But, sir, if we're going to activate Nightfall, we need to decide soon. The mesh requires 36 hours to reach full operational status. Meanwhile, in the council chambers of Vega Prime, Supreme Chancellor Thyros reviewed intelligence reports with satisfaction. Fleet Admiral Kexalon of the Mounted Swarm stood beside him, mandibles clicking in what passed for laughter among his species. The humans remained silent, Kexalon reported. No military mobilization detected. No diplomatic communications. Their colonies continue normal operations as if nothing has changed. Fear, declared Chancellor Thyros. They know they cannot win. Now they seek some way to surrender without losing face. Commander Zephyra of the Crystal Hegemony flickered into existence as a hologram. Her energy form pulsed with amusement. My scouts report increased transmissions between Earth and their colonies, probably evacuating important personnel before they capitulate. Standard procedure, agreed General Rakthus of the Iron Brotherhood. The cyborg's mechanical voice showed no emotion. 17 species have followed this exact pattern. Resistance, realization, resignation. Thyros accessed his tactical display. The combined council fleet was indeed impressive. Vector dreadnoughts bristling with plasma cannons, Manted carriers launching swarms of fighter drones. Crystal hegemony ships that could phase in and out of normal space. Iron Brotherhood vessels, more machine than ship, their AI-controlled weapons systems capable of calculating enemy weaknesses in microseconds. And at the center, the Stellar Wens clan's command ships, their gravitic manipulators able to tear apart planets. The humans have 72 hours, Thyros announced. I predict they will surrender in 48. No species chooses extinction when servitude is offered. Back on Earth, President Kumar made his decision. Admiral Cross, you have authorization to activate Project Nightfall. Dr. Reed, bring the quantum mesh to full operational status. Yes, sir, both officers replied simultaneously. Kumar turned to Ambassador Chen via secure transmission. Maya, I want you to remain at Lunar Station. When the Council comes calling, you'll be our voice. What should I tell them, Mr. President? Kumar looked around the room at the faces of humanity's leaders. Each showed the same grim determination that had carried their species from cave paintings to interstellar civilization. Tell them we heard their warning. Then show them what happens when they threaten Earth. As the countdown began, across human space, hidden systems came online. The quantum mesh awakened, invisible threads of exotic energy connecting every human world. In asteroid belts and nebulae, camouflaged platforms powered up weapons that existed only in theoretical physics papers. On colony worlds, ordinary citizens went about their daily lives, unaware that their settlements were about to become fortresses. The Council had sent an ultimatum to what they thought was a young, desperate species clinging to a few scattered worlds. They were about to discover that humanity had been preparing for this moment since the day they first looked up at the stars and decided they belonged there. 70-2 hours. The galaxy was about to learn why humans didn't just survive in a hostile universe. They thrived in it. The response to the deadline passed in silence. Supreme Chancellor Thyros checked his chronometer as the final minutes ticked away. Earth Standard Time, 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. 72 hours had elapsed since the ultimatum was delivered, and humanity had provided no response, no surrender, no negotiation, no communication at all. Typical primitive behavior, Chancellor Thyros announced to his war council. When faced with superior force, they freeze like frightened prey. Fleet Admiral Kexalon, begin the approach to Sol System. The combined Council fleet moved with practiced precision. 800 ships from 5 species, more firepower than had been assembled in 50 years. They entered human space in perfect formation, sensor arrays active, weapons powered but not yet targeted. This was meant to be a show of force, not a battle. Admiral Kexalon's mandibles clicked as tactical data streamed across his displays. No human ships detected beyond the orbital defense platforms around their colonies. Their main fleet appears to be docked at Mars Station. Standard defensive posture. They know they cannot win, Thyros said with satisfaction. Signal the human colonies as we pass. They should witness their government's surrender. But as the fleet approached the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, something changed. The space around them began to shimmer, like heat waves rising from summer pavement. Reality itself seemed to flex and bend deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Dr. Marcus Reed watched as the quantum mesh reached full activation. Mesh online, Mr. President. All nodes reporting green status. President Kumar stood behind him, hands clasped behind his back. Admiral Cross. Strike teams in position at all target coordinates, Cross reported. Captain Vasquez and the stealth squadrons are standing by. Ambassador Chen. Maya's voice crackled through the communicator from Lunar Station. I can see the Council fleet. From here, sir. They're moving in standard approach formation. No sign they suspect anything. Kumar nodded grimly. Very well. Dr. Reed, show them what humanity has built. Reed's fingers danced across his controls, activating primary mesh. Spatial distortion in 3.2.1. The universe screamed. Space twisted around the Council fleet as gravity wells appeared from nowhere. Ships that had been flying in perfect formation suddenly found themselves pulled in different directions by forces that shouldn't exist. The massive Vector Dreadnought Dominator lurched sideways as local gravity increased by a factor of 10. What is happening? Chancellor Thyros roared as his command ship shuddered. Where are these gravity anomalies coming from? Unknown energy. Sources throughout the system, Commander Zephyra reported, her holographic form flickering with confusion. The readings don't match any known technology. Admiral Kexalon's tactical display showed chaos. Ships scattered across light of space as they fought against gravitational forces that seemed to follow no natural law. It's artificial. Someone is manipulating space-time itself. Impossible, General Raktha stated. Only the ancient builders possessed such technology, and they vanished millennia ago. But their confusion was nothing compared to what happened. Next, from seemingly empty space, human ships began to appear. Not just a few patrol vessels, but entire battle groups that had been hidden by technologies the Council didn't even know existed. Captain Alina Vasquez commanded the stealth destroyer Phantom, one of humanity's most advanced vessels. She'd been waiting in dimensional fold space for 6 hours, her ship existing partially outside normal reality. Now, as the quantum mesh created chaos among the Council fleet, it was time to strike. All stealth units, this is Vasquez. Execute Thunder Protocol. The Phantom materialized directly beneath a manted carrier, its adaptive hull shifting from transparent to active camouflage to full visibility. Vasquez didn't hesitate. Fire quantum torpedoes. The weapons that struck the carrier weren't just explosive. They were weapons that attacked the fundamental forces holding matter together. The carrier didn't explode so much as unravel, its hull separating into component atoms as the quantum cascade spread through its structure across the battlefield. Similar scenes played out as humanity's hidden fleet revealed itself. Ships that should have been impossible emerged from fold space, from temporal bubbles, from dimensional pockets. Each carried weapons that defied everything the Council thought they knew about physics. This is impossible, Thyros breathed as he watched, his mighty fleet being systematically dismantled. How do they possess such technology? His answer came from an unexpected source. Ambassador Maya Chen's face appeared on every Council ship's communication screen simultaneously. Her expression showed no fear, no uncertainty, only cold determination. You asked for our response to your ultimatum, she said calmly. This is it. The Council fleet tried to regroup, but the quantum mesh made normal tactics useless. Navigation systems failed as local space-time curved in impossible directions. Faster than drives shut down as dimensional barriers appeared between ships and their exit vectors. Communication arrays sparked and died as quantum interference turned their signals into static. Admiral Kexalon attempted to coordinate a fighting retreat, but humanity had learned from studying every Council military engagement for the past 8 years. They knew exactly how each species fought, what their weaknesses were, how their technology worked. The mantid drones that swarmed from the carriers found their hive mind connections severed by quantum crystal hegemony ships discovered their phase-shifting abilities blocked by dimensional anchors. Iron Brotherhood AI systems crashed as their networks were invaded by human cyber warfare programs that existed partially outside normal spacetime. But the real shock came when similar attacks began occurring throughout Council space simultaneously. The quantum mesh nodes that Dr. Reed had hidden over the past 3 years activated at once, bringing chaos to 12 different star systems. On Vega Prime, the Council's capital world, power grids failed as gravitational fields fluctuated wildly. The massive orbital shipyards around Mantid space found their construction berths suddenly empty as vessels were displaced into fold space. Crystal hegemony communication relays discovered their signals being intercepted and redirected to human intelligence networks. Supreme Chancellor Thyros realized the truth with growing horror. This hadn't been a desperate last stand by a cornered species. It had been a trap. Humanity had been planning this response for years, possibly since first contact. Every interaction, every seemingly innocent trade negotiation, every cultural exchange had been an intelligence-gathering operation. Sir Admiral Kexalon's voice was barely controlled panic. We're receiving surrender requests from our forces in 7 different systems. The humans aren't just hitting us here. They're attacking everywhere at once. The tactical display showed the scope of humanity's reach. Ships that had never been reported were engaging Council forces across vast distances. Weapons platforms that shouldn't exist were disabling military installations. Most terrifying of all, human forces were demonstrating restraint. They weren't destroying everything they could. They were proving they could. Ambassador Chun's voice echoed through the chaos. You gave us 72 hours to submit to your authority. You told us to accept our place in your galactic order. You threatened to quarantine our species until we learned proper humility. On the view screen, her expression hardened. We have a different proposal. The attack stopped as suddenly as it had begun. The quantum mesh stabilized, leaving the Council fleet drifting helplessly but unharmed. Throughout Council space, similar scenes played out as human forces demonstrated they could end the engagement at will, but chose not to. You will withdraw all forces from human space immediately, Chen continued. You will recognize the sovereignty of every human colony and settlement. You will establish formal diplomatic relations with Earth as an equal partner, not a subordinate. Species, Chancellor Thyros wanted to rage, to demand reinforcements, to unleash the full might of the Council. But as reports continued flooding in from across their territory, the truth became undeniable. Humanity hadn't just prepared for this confrontation. They had already won it before the first shot was fired. And if we refuse? He managed to ask. Chen's smile held no warmth. Then we stop being polite. As if to emphasize her point, the space around his flagship shimmered again. For just a moment, Thyros caught a glimpse of what lay hidden throughout Sol System. Weapons platforms that dwarfed his largest dreadnoughts. Defense networks that turned entire asteroid fields into fortress complexes. Ships that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. But most terrifying of all were the humans themselves. The Council had dismissed them as a young species, barely worthy of attention. Now, Thyros understood there was something far more dangerous. They were a species that had looked at a hostile galaxy full of older, more powerful civilizations and decided they belonged at the top of the food chain. You have 6 hours to begin your withdrawal, Chen announced. Any ship that remains in human space after that time will be considered an act of war. And Supreme Chancellor, yes, Thyros replied weakly. Next time you want to give humanity an ultimatum, remember this day. Remember what happens when you mistake patience for weakness. The transmission ended, leaving the Council fleet alone with their defeat. As withdrawal orders were reluctantly given, one fact became clear to every species in the galaxy. The humans hadn't just refused to bow to superior force, they had demonstrated that the force wasn't superior at all. Earth had been silent for 72 hours, not out of fear, but because they were too busy preparing humanity's response. And that response had shattered the illusion of Council supremacy forever. The galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. The species that had been dismissed as primitive newcomers had just announced they were the new apex predators. And they had done it without destroying a single world or committing genocide against their enemies. They had done something far more terrifying. They had proven they didn't need to.